Indira Gandhi was named the Women of the Millennium by BBC in 1998. It is a name that evokes power, controversy, and legacy. But what shaped this iconic figure? Katherine Frank, in her biography, takes us behind the curtain. In this video, I'm going to share my thoughts on Katherine Frank's rich, nuanced, and detailed biography of Indira Gandhi, a journey through her childhood, politics, relationships, and much more. So let's get into it. So Indira Gandhi was born on 17th November 1917. She grew up in Anand Bhavan, a palatial building where both the Eastern and the Western cultures coexisted. It was not just a residence, it was a hub of political activity. And so Indira Gandhi was inevitably drawn into all the major political movements that were launched during the freedom struggle. Uh, Two incidents from her childhood stood out to me. Once during the non-cooperation movement, Motilal Nehru had launched a hartal against a royal visit to Allahabad, and he was arrested for that reason. And the trial took place in the Allahabad court. Interestingly enough, Motilal Nehru had taken Indira to the trial, and Indira was just 4 years old at that point in time. We do not know if it was done consciously to initiate Indira into politics, but this was her first exposure to politics. And the other incident took place in 1932. In 1932, Mahatma Gandhi had launched a fast unto death against the communal award granted to the Harijans, the Dalits, by the then British Prime Minister. So he launched this fast unto death in Eravada jail in Pune. And Gandhi thought that this was a policy to divide the Hindus. And 5 days into the past, Gandhi's health deteriorated, and the British did not want Gandhi to die in their hands. And Ambedkar, the representative of the Dalit community in India, arrived, and the negotiations took place between Ambedkar and Gandhi. And finally, Ambedkar gave up his claim for separate electorates and settled in for a reservation of certain seats for Dalits in the constituencies that were allocated for the Hindus. So, and then Gandhi agreed to break the fast theatrically in front of 200 people, and interestingly enough, it was Indira Gandhi who squeezed an orange and gave the juice to Gandhi. So she was a witness to one of the pivotal moments in the history of modern India. Nonetheless, Indira grew up as a weak, frail, and insecure child. Once it so happened, her aunt, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, had described Indira as ugly and stupid. So this had dented her confidence to a great extent. And she was deeply attached to her mother, but unfortunately, she lost her mother at a very young age. Kamala Nehru was battling tuberculosis and she succumbed to it. And she shared a beautiful bond with her father, Nehru, as well, but Nehru was away most of the time doing the campaigning work. This had, in a way, led to an emotional isolation. Uh, but bear in mind, it is this weak, frail, and insecure child who went on to take some of the most powerful decisions later on when she entered politics. Indira held a very special place in Nehru's heart. His love for Indira knew no bounds. He often expressed his love for her through letters because most of the times he was away doing the political work or he was incarcerated in jails for his political activities. The most famous letters from her father to his daughter was written when Jawaharlal Nehru was incarcerated in Naini prison in Allahabad. And Although these letters mainly talk about history, Catherine Frank argues that these letters were consciously written in order to implant political vision in Indira. And when it comes to education, he wanted to give a solid academic foundation to Indira. He tried to put her in Oxford, and he had also enrolled her in an international school in Switzerland, and she also studied for a brief period at Shantiniketan. But Indira's interest in studies was lukewarm. She was never a brilliant student, but her stints at Oxford and in Switzerland certainly helped her to develop a cosmopolitan outlook, which later on helped her to achieve a great deal in foreign policy front when she became the prime minister. And but one of the most important lessons that Indira learned from his father was the sense of duty. Many a times she had seen her father prioritizing nation over personal work, and this had left deep imprint on Indira. And she had internalized this lesson, and she took it to the next level. She had this belief that nobody else could shoulder the responsibility of leading the nation as she could, and this had disastrous consequences. And coming to a relationship with Feroz, the surname Gandhi comes from Feroz Gandhi, not from Mahatma Gandhi. Although Mahatma Gandhi had a great deal of influence on the Nehrus, but he wasn't biologically related to them. Feroz met Indira during a political movement. Kamala Nehru was leading a hartal against a Christian college in Allahabad, where Feroz was a student. And during the hartal, Kamala fainted under the hot sun, and Feroz came to her rescue. Ever since, Feroz became a regular presence at Anand Bhavan, and he fell in love with Indira, and he expressed his love for her. And later they moved to Oxford, where for studies, and where Indira was studying at Oxford, and Feroz Gandhi was a student at London School of Economics. They would meet often. Here, their relationship deepened, and eventually they decided to get married. And when Indira Gandhi expressed her decision or conveyed her decision to Nehru, Nehru was rattled. Not because he was worried about Firoz's social identity, he was least bothered about his social background. But as a father, certainly he was worried about Firoz's financial background, because at that point in time, Feroz did not have a stable job. And uh, and that is why he gave the responsibility of managing National Herald to Firoz. But everything went well, and the marriage took place in Anand Bhavan in 1942. They were happily married in the beginning, but the fissures started to emerge over time. And one of the important reasons for this was after independence, when Nehru became the prime minister, and in fact, even before the independence as well. So, Indira had moved to Delhi. She had moved to Tinmurti Bhavan, the official residence of the prime minister, along with the kids, in order to assist Nehru. And the other important reason for the strain in the marriage was Firoz's philandering nature. So when Indira was in Delhi, Feroz was in Lucknow managing the National Herald. During this period, Indira was torn between her responsibilities as a daughter, as a mother, and a wife. At this time, her personal hierarchy of commitments perhaps ran in this order: Nehru first, then her children, then Firoz, and then herself. Despite all this, Indira always longed for a simple and a normal family life with Feroz and their children. She many a times felt like, she was inevitably drawn into politics, and she had this feeling uh, that she was leading a caged life. And coming to the ideology, Nehru's ideology of democratic socialism comes from his extensive reading of socialist thinkers. And Harold Lasky had a great deal of influence on Nehru. But this wasn't the case with Indira. So Indira's socialism comes from the crucible of realpolitik and circumstances. So when Indira was appointed as the prime minister after Lal Bahadur Shastri's death, so the senior members of the Congress appointed her as the prime minister because they thought that she was a woman, and they thought she would act as their puppet. But soon she found herself at odds with their party bosses. Her decision to devalue the rupee was one of the first bold moves that signaled her departure from their expectations. At this juncture, it was necessary for Indira Gandhi to carve out a separate political identity for herself, and that is when she turned to her trusted aides from the past, such as P.N. Askar, R.K. Dhawan, and they were often referred as the Kashmiri Mafia because they were from Kashmir. So they played a very important role in shaping the image of Indira as a pro-poor leader by introducing policies such as bank nationalization and abolition of privy purses, thus born the myth of Mother India. So together they carefully constructed the persona of Indira as a messiah of the poor. So till the very end, people believed that a significant section of Indian society believed that she would do something that would make their lives better. Indira managed the 1971 crisis with absolute brilliance. At a time when Kissinger and Nixon were trying to build Washington, Islamabad, and Beijing axis in order to counterbalance Soviet Union in this region, and Washington was also very keen to normalize the relationship with Beijing, and Pakistan was playing a key intermediary role in this process. The only way out for India was to reach out to the global leaders. And amid this background, Indira embarked on a world tour, diplomatically persuading the world leaders about the atrocities committed by the Pakistani forces in erstwhile East Pakistan. And she patiently waited for a provocation from Pakistan because she did not want India to come out as an aggressor. So her managing of this complex geopolitical issue stands as a testament to her extraordinary leadership abilities and her political acumen. And the emergency, the most controversial decision that she took. Emergency that Indira Gandhi imposed between 1975 and Jan 1977 was the darkest hour in the history of modern India. So, India's democracy, under the directions of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, uh, 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 political opponents were jailed, and civil liberties extinguished, and the press got censored, and moreover, a personality cult around the leader, was actively promoted during this period. And as per Catherine Frank, Indira took this drastic action due to a mix of personal and political reasons. And because she viewed herself as Mother India, she thought that only way that she could tackle the protests that were led by the juggernaut Jaiprakash Narayan was by imposing emergency. And the Supreme Court's decision to only to grant a conditional stay on the Allahabad High Court judgment, which had declared her election as invalid, further strengthened a resolve to impose emergency. But the story of emergency is incomplete without discussing a demonic figure called Sanjay Gandhi. Sanjay Gandhi, Frank has dedicated her whole chapter titled as Rising Sun, where she discusses about all the atrocities that Sanjay Gandhi committed along with his cronies. Sanjay Gandhi is described as this hot headed, cold blooded individual who wielded enormous, unauthorized, arbitrary power, which and he, along with his cronies during the emergencies, implemented several policies which bypassed all the democratic processes. And his controversial 5 point program, which included forced sterilization to control the population, and his beautification drive in Delhi displaced tens and thousands of families, and it caused unimaginable human suffering. But the important question is why? Why did Indira let all these happen under her nose? Wasn't she aware of all that Sanjay Gandhi was doing? Although Indira Gandhi comes across as a bold, courageous, and an intellectual woman, but she was not devoid of human frailties. There was some sort of a void that was created in her life, and as I told earlier, she bore the weight of multiple roles. She was a mother, she was a daughter, she was a grandmother, and she was the prime minister as well. And after the untimely death of Feroz Gandhi, um, and as her political responsibilities grew, it was Sanjay Gandhi who filled that void for her. He was more than her son. He was her closest confidant. And as she grew increasingly isolated, both physically and personally, her attachment to Sanjay deepened, which often clouded her political judgment. Another controversy that Indira Gandhi was involved in, the Operation Blue Star. By 1980s, Akali Dal had become a dominant political party in Punjab. And Indira Gandhi, in the post emergency era, she wanted to regain her control over the state of Punjab. In order to do this, she resorted to divisive means. She, along with her son Sanjay Gandhi and other political allies such as Zial Singh, indirectly supported the rise of a communal outfit, an extremist leader, Janil Singh Bhindranwale, who later on became a big menace to the country. And although Operation Blue Star was launched in 1984 and it was successful in ousting Jarnan Singh Bhindranwale and his team from the Golden Temple, but it came at an enormous cost, at the cost of her very own life. All in all, Catherine Frank's The Life of Indira Nehru Gandhi, is neither a hagiographical account nor a vilified portrayal. It presents this extraordinary women in warts and all. Frank tells the political story through an emotional lens, reminding us that our leaders too are flesh and blood humans who are driven by conviction, marred by mistakes, and shaped by the burdens of their time. If you found this, thank you for watching, and if you found this review interesting, do like, share, and subscribe, and also let me know in the comment section what do you think of life and legacy of Indira Gandhi. Thank you.